My island Dulcilu.
Make a Labour Party firm and strong. I pray to God to give me the energy we need to keep Jamaica and our people firm and strong. Stand up, Labour rights. Stand up for justice. Stand up for truth. Labour rights are proud of their party.
In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory. Jamaica, no bother fuss, no bother fight. We did a figure your labor right. No shaky boat because a woman will like. We did a figure your labor right. The river come down green, it's so pretty and bright. We did a figure your labor right. You let me love shower in a green, me baptized. We did a figure your labor right. Right now, me now worry about visa. Cause we have one of the greatest leader. Me now run with, go a foreign like Triple X and go beef crab leg out a freezer. Bout ya fit on green like Tracina. I will say no, we are streets for the teachers. We have the prettiest women like Anne-Marie Vaz and sexy Benicia. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory. Oh no, see St. Thomas Urban Center, you know, St. James Parameter. Our doctors in a use garbage bag, yo, does you go on like you know member. Now blessings are flow like river. Every bad prayer return to sender. Dr. Cool and Blair teach drop out from when PNP never buy them no denture. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, we shall have a victory.
Good evening, Labour Roots, and good evening to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Labourite alive. Good evening, my people. Good evening. Now, this morning we had segued from the topic, and veered a little bit into what Edward Seaga had done in Jamaica during his first year in government and what happened in the last year of his government also. Now, I have decided to come this evening with a documentary, with a little clip to show you guys, for persons who have not seen it yet, to show you guys what Edward Seaga first year in government was like back in the 80s. See, but before we get into that, let us roll out the evening shout-outs. See? Scroll up. So, Donna, big up yourself. Good evening. Jacqueline Chambers, big up yourself. Good evening. Ronaldo Miller, big up yourself. PB, big up yourself. Good evening to my beautiful wife. Good evening, baby. Marie Rose, big up yourself. Andal, big up yourself. Candice, big up yourself. Joyce Lynn, big up yourself. Elaine McClarity, big up yourself. Iloni, big up yourself. Robert, big up yourself. Bertie, big up yourself. Good evening. Remember to like up the live, my people. Now, let's get into the documentary. We're not going to talk too much. We'll talk after the documentary. I might even get a copyright strike for this, my people. But, this is for educational purposes. See, so we don't have to really look for make no money off of this per se. See, so here we go, my people. Hold on, let me play.
The President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and the Vice President of the United States.
Big up in the cake.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Please be seated. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you here this morning. We're here to honor one of the foremost statesmen in our hemisphere, and certainly our good friend and my good friend, the Prime Minister Edward Seaga of Jamaica. Prime Minister Seaga is being awarded the 1982 American Friendship Medal by the Freedoms Foundation for his efforts to further democratic institutions and the free market economy, and for his courageous leadership in the cause of freedom for all people. Few people are more deserving of this tribute than Prime Minister Seaga. People often say that freedom is a worthy ideal, and it works. Well, the proof of this axiom is reflected in the achievements in Jamaica of the man we're honoring today. Before Prime Minister Seaga, there was violence and lawlessness. Now there's peace and growing respect for the law. Before, there was despair about the future. Now there is hope and expectation of better times ahead. In the recent past, the economy was declining, and now through free enterprise, it is growing. And a short time ago, few new jobs were being created, and now there are significant employment opportunities. Without the political and economic freedom characteristic of democratic societies, these results would have been impossible. Jamaica is demonstrating to its neighbors who share its structural economic problems and resulting political polarization that conditions of freedom and economic opportunity lead to greater prosperity and peace for all. Prime Minister Seaga's accomplishments are not limited to what he's done in Jamaica just over 2 years. He has long opposed totalitarian inroads in the Caribbean basin. He has fought for the adherence of basin states to the principles of free elections, respect for basic human rights, and other democratic ideals that we all cherish. Long-term prosperity cannot be achieved without internal conditions of political freedom and economic opportunity. But external assistance is often necessary to help overcome structural economic problems that impede development. This is particularly true in Caribbean basin nations whose small economies are especially vulnerable to external shocks. Prime Minister Seaga's ideas about the need for outside trade and investment incentives to foster the region's economic development were an important intellectual force, contributing to the development of My Caribbean Basin Initiative, CBI, proposal to Congress last year. Prime Minister Seaga has been the CBI's most persistent and eloquent Caribbean Initiative advocate and spokesman. And I am deeply disappointed that the CBI did not pass the Senate last December. Last week, I sent up to Congress some legislation. On Friday, as a matter of fact, the CBI as one of our highest priorities, and I'm hopeful that it will pass quickly in this session. The Congress knows this legislation is essential to help the basin countries cope with economic difficulties not of their own making if their people are to have a better future. In giving this prestigious award to Prime Minister Seaga, the Freedoms Foundation is recognizing a true friend of people everywhere who desire a better life through freedom and economic opportunity. And for that reason, he is also a friend of the United States. It's now my great pleasure to present Dr. Robert Miller, the president of the Freedoms Foundation, who will present the American Friendship Medal to Prime Minister Seaga.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. Last November, the National Award Jury met on our campus and selected the 1982 Freedoms Foundation Award recipients. At that time, Mr. Prime Minister, it selected you to receive the highest award that Freedom's Foundation can bestow on a non-American citizen, the American Friendship Medal. It is my privilege as president of that foundation, acting on behalf of the jury, the board of directors, and the council of trustees, to present to you the 1982 Freedom's Foundation American Friendship Medal. The citation reads, sir, "For his furtherance of democratic institutions and a free market economy, and for his courageous leadership in the cause of freedom for all people." Congratulations.
Mr. President, Dr. Miller, Vice President,
Don't tell me if all Bucky
members of
Master
the
can
cabinet,
speak like this.
Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable members of the Senate and of the House, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you, Dr. Miller and Freedom's Foundation, for the honor which you have bestowed on me today. I would, however, like to think of this not as a personal tribute, but as an award based on the friendship that exists between our two peoples. I'm particularly delighted that this award has been associated with the President of the United States, whose personal friendship for Jamaica has been translated into many acts of support over the period of the term of office of my administration. Acts of support which have helped in no small way to rebuild some of the bridges that had been torn down between our two peoples in a previous time. Notwithstanding this personal dimension, I would like to think of this award as having a wider basis of considerations which account for the broad base of friendship which exists between the Jamaican and the American people. Historically, we had a good foundation. Our two founding fathers were well known and well understood the role of the United States in the hemisphere and the friendship that would naturally exist between our two peoples. Sir Alexander Bustamante, whose own 100th birthday anniversary we commemorate in a couple of days, was an unabashed friend of the American people. Norman Washington Manley was born on July 4th, and carrying the middle name Washington, I believe, speaks for itself, and I need say no more. Demographically, 1 of every 4 Jamaicans live in the United States, and they find themselves at home here because of the wide range of beliefs and values which they as a people share with the American people. Politically, we share a common political system, parliamentary democracy. And this system is based on a common devotion to the principle enshrined in the Declaration of Independence by your own founding father, whose 251st anniversary of his birth was commemorated yesterday, George Washington, in the principle that government must exist by the consent of the governed. We share a common belief that personal reward is the greatest motivation for personal initiative and effort, and that by this system we can best make two blades of grass grow where only one grew before. Our peoples share the objective of betterment of self and family as the strongest driving force to build a prosperous society. There are differences because we are not clones of each other. But the commonalities far outweigh these differences. And I had occasion on the well-remembered visit of President Reagan to Jamaica to present him with the text of many popular polls that had been taken in Jamaica over the last several years, in which issues involving the United States government or its people were in point. And we recorded with pleasure that in every such instance, by the voluntary vote of the Jamaican people in such polls, the affirmative response to the American people and to the United States government was in excess of 70% as a minimum. I emphasize this point because too often our friendship is seen and described in terms of personal relationship that may exist between myself and your president, or political expediency, without understanding that a people with a broad common background must independently of each other strike broad common positions in their own common interests. This broad span of natural common interests and common design is bigger than the Prime Minister of Jamaica. It is bigger than the President of the United States. It is a people thing that is shaped by their own experiences and nurtured by their own voluntary will. I accept this award, the American Friendship Medal, as the custodian of friendship between our peoples, of which the friendship which exists between myself and your president is only symbolic. Like my distinguished predecessors who have received this distinguished award, I'm grateful that Freedom's Foundation, which has made this award, is devoted to the recognition of struggles for freedom, to make nations free, and to honor the strengthening of relations. In our own case, we have had to struggle from destructive forces which tested the full strength of our beliefs. And in doing so, we have been able to preserve our own country for freedom and democracy. I accept your award in demonstration of the precept that the quality of freedom cannot be diluted. It is indivisible, whether it is the great driving force which created the nation that today leads the free world, or the beacon which guided Jamaica in its struggles to preserve its own foundations of freedom.
So, guys, may have a next clip, but I wanted you guys to see just how eloquently our Prime Minister of the past were. Wanna tell me in the comment section if you think Bucky Master can hold up to them a kind of scrutiny. If you think Bucky Master can go amongst Americans and speak like Edward George Philip Seaga the most honorable. See, I believe he should be a right excellent, by the way. Right excellent would mean that he's a national hero. And in my eyes, Edward Seaga is a national hero. He's one of my personal heroes. He's a role model. He's one of my idols. And I definitely look up to him. Now, we are going to roll the other clip. So the other clip will show the first year in office of Edward Seaga after Michael Manley destroyed the economy. See? So let's get into that one.
Copilot,
Skip that.
how do I simplify my research so people don't fall asleep during my presentation?
For a 3-year extended fund facility arrangement. In a press release on April 1st, I informed the nation that the management of the fund had recommended such an arrangement subject to approval by the fund's executive board.
This clip is from the National Library of Jamaica, guys.
It gives me great pleasure
From the archives.
to be able to announce that the board at its meeting on April 13th approved the agreement. And in this connection, I have the honor to table Ministry Paper number 9 of 1981 containing the relevant documentation. This agreement with the International Monetary Fund has been characterized by me as a positive one. It does not contain any provision for, 1, devaluation of the Jamaican dollar. 2, cut back on public sector employment. Or 3, curtailment of specific programs. All these were features of previous agreements between the IMF and the government of Jamaica.
The success of the government in securing both short-term financing and financing for the 1981-82 budget in such a short period of time is a significant achievement. But Prime Minister Seaga has emphasized that the nation cannot borrow its way out of problems. We must earn our way out of our economic crisis. In order to achieve real growth and development in the country, to create jobs, increase exports, and improve standards of living, there must be a massive injection of capital investment, much of which will have to come from abroad. The new government, in a very short period of time, has succeeded in creating a good climate for new investment. A good rapport has been established with the local private sector, and the government has outlined the dynamic and critical role which this group is expected to play in the drive for economic recovery. The new climate of confidence has also attracted overseas investors. From as early as a few weeks after the elections, teams have been arriving in the island to assess the country's investment potential. Indeed, the response from both local and foreign investors has been very encouraging. Within the first 100 days in office, the government, through the Jamaica National Investment Corporation, the JNIC, the single agency designated for registering investment inquiries, received inquiries involving 114 projects, 47 local and 67 foreign, valued at $310 million. These projects range from garment and furniture manufacturing to fishing and cigar manufacturing. An example of the interest now being generated is the visit of a group of businessmen from Tampa, Florida. They met with the Prime Minister and local private leaders. It was decided to establish a hotline between Kingston and Florida to facilitate the flow of investment inquiries. broader level, Prime Minister Seaga has himself been active in securing investment capital for the growth and development of our economy. While on a mission to Washington and New York in early December, Mr. Seaga called for the development of a Marshall Plan type approach to the social and economic problems of the Caribbean and Central America, a program similar to that which rehabilitated countries of Western Europe after the Second World War. He pointed out that inflows to this region were presently only 1.3 billion US dollars, and that if this was increased to 3 billion US dollars, it would significantly improve economic and social conditions. One of the significant events having a positive impact on our economy was the visit of Prime Minister Seaga to President Reagan in January. Mr. Seaga had the distinction of being the first head of state to be invited to meet with the new president.
Foreign visitor. The President's invitation to the newly elected Prime Minister emphasized not only the close ties that exist between the two nations, but also the importance Mr. Reagan ascribes to hemisphere relations. The Prime Minister and his wife were formally greeted on the South Lawn by President and Mrs. Reagan, as well as by Vice President and Mrs. George Bush, and Secretary of State and Mrs. Alexander Haig. After the ceremonies, the two leaders conferred privately. They were then joined by government and business leaders for a state luncheon. There, the President paid tribute to his visitor.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you join me in a toast to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mrs. Seaga, and to the friendship and alliance that are renewed here today, and to the common endeavor to preserve the peace, independence, and freedom of this country.
The Prime Minister, in turn, acknowledged the importance of the occasion.
It has been a great honor for my wife, myself, and my delegation to have been the first invitees of your new administration to Washington on an official visit. As a nation, economically and politically, we are arthritic. We have inherited the malady, and it is a malady that is going to take time to cure. Our concept of policy in this matter is one which directs to the possibility of developing greater flows in trade and in finance. Flows that will move capital and technology across the border to the economic development and betterment and mutual betterment of our people.
The success of Mr. Seaga's visit here was perhaps best summed up in the words President Reagan had used as he bid farewell to the Prime Minister and his wife following their state luncheon at the White House.
And I'm delighted to start off my presidency with this first visit. I can assure him, and indeed all countries, that the United States will continue to respect peaceful political change that in this instance offers great hope for freedom. I assured the Prime Minister that he could count on American support for his objectives, especially in his efforts to expand his country's private sector. Mr. Prime Minister, we're honored to have you as America's first foreign visitor in our administration. And let me express my personal hope that the first shall not be last.
The Prime Minister's meeting with President Reagan achieved the setting up of two high-powered committees, one in the U.S. and the other in Jamaica, to promote the smooth flow of investment and technology between the two countries.
Would enable us to structure a mechanism which is new, a mechanism by which the private sector in the United States would undertake
to work together with the private sector in Jamaica for the development of the country economically and to increase the capital transfers that can come from private flows on a much larger scale than any aid flows can accomplish. And at the same time, to increase the transfer of technology that can come from private sources.
Shortly after Prime Minister Seaga's return, the U.S. Business Committee on Jamaica was announced. It is headed by Mr. David Rockefeller, chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank. Other members of this committee include heads of some of the largest corporations of the U.S., Exxon, Alcoa, Kaiser, to name a few. The Prime Minister's Committee on Foreign Investment and Employment is headed by Mr. Carlton Alexander, former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica and chief executive of the Grace Kennedy Group of Companies. The two committees held their first meeting on Friday, March 6th at Jamaica House in Kingston. At this meeting, Mr. Rockefeller observed that Jamaica held great potential for development and promised the full support of his committee in assisting Jamaica. It was decided that the two committees are to split up in subcommittees for work in special areas, and that they are to meet from time to time to determine areas for investment and investors most suitable for participation. Both teams will do the necessary background studies to expedite the flow of investment. The Jamaican National Investment Corporation is to be the Jamaican Secretariat to work with the Secretariat of the U.S. Businessmen's Committee. Mr. Seaga's visit to Washington also resulted in a boost for the tourist industry. In meetings with President Reagan, it was agreed that there would be an amendment to the U.S.-Jamaica Taxation Treaty to allow business conventions coming to Jamaica to get tax relief for their stay here. This is now before the U.S. Senate for approval. While the government seeks to attract foreign capital, it is recognized that we must make sure that these resources are put to work effectively. We must ensure that mismanagement and waste do not take place. In just 3 months of operation, the government reduced the gap in our fiscal budget by 70 million Jamaican dollars and is looking at ways to further reduce this deficit, which in 1980 to 81 is $240 million. The goal is to eliminate this over a 3-year period by imposing tough measures.
EasyJet's Big Orange Sale is now on. Get up to 20% off flights.
Including the ending of waste of public funds, tighter controls of expenditure, and improved revenue collection. Government is also divesting itself of several public companies, which over the past 5 years have lost between $450 and $500 million. The actions of the government over the first 3 months, the securing of long-term credit and the opening up of investment opportunities have laid the foundations for a sound economic base and have put Jamaica on the road to economic recovery. The first 3 months have also seen direct action being taken to improve individual areas of the economy. Agriculture has received special attention. New incentive prices are now being given to cane farmers and manufacturers of sugar, and funds have been allocated to improve cane roads. Government is also exploring ways to improve the management of the sugar cooperatives. Efforts are being made to revitalize the banana industry, and the $20 million rehabilitation program resulting from the damage of Hurricane Allen has been provided. Financing has been provided for the citrus industry by government guarantee, and major expansion program has started in the coffee industry. The Agricultural Marketing Corporation, the AMC, is now being studied with a view to establishing a marketing intelligence network, and markets are being sought both locally and abroad. Another area which has received prompt attention is the construction industry, an important employer of labor, which has declined drastically over the last 5 years. Government has taken steps to deal with cement production problems, and the return of confidence in the economy has brought about renewed interest in the industry. In fact, the Master Builders Association has estimated that in 1981, it will be possible to achieve some $450 million in construction, as against $275 million in 1980, and that industry will employ 11,000 more workers in 1981 than in 1980. Immediate steps have also been taken to ease the unemployment situation, with $2 million being allocated for new roadwork programs for the months of February and March. Financing has also been provided for a special youth employment program to help young people, many of whom have been without jobs for a period of years. $1 million have been made available, which will provide for some 8,000 jobs through the Ministry of Youth and Community Development. The revival of the economy will depend to a large extent on the existence of a stable and secure society. The whole question of national security has been seriously examined, and steps have been taken to equip the police force to deal effectively with crime and violence. Through the importation of spare parts, 150 more vehicles have been brought into service, and 35 Land Rovers and 50 cars have been bought through bilateral agreements. This has increased the mobile strength of the police to 857 vehicles, the highest level achieved in many years. Since coming into office, the new government has also taken steps to ensure that the rights of the individual are respected and maintained. A contractor general is to be established to ensure that contracts are awarded on a fair basis and work properly done. An impartial broadcasting commission is also to be established to prevent political abuse and manipulation of the media.
We suffer for that right now.
Some 916 members of statutory boards have been appointed on the basis of their ability to do the job rather than by party affiliation. The Prime Minister has also appointed a Civil Service Commission, Public Service Commission, and Judicial Commission after consultation and agreement with opposition leader Michael Manley. These actions demonstrate the government's commitment to human rights and justice for all, a major platform in their pre-election campaign. While securing a sound economic base and laying the foundations for an equitable society, the government has taken strong initiatives in foreign policy aimed at returning us to a balanced ideological position. Jamaica has sought to strengthen links with traditional partners while maintaining a truly non-aligned position and cementing bonds of friendship with third world countries. Prime Minister Seaga's invitation to be the first head of state to visit President Reagan is evidence of the central position which the country holds in the Caribbean. The prompt response to our economic needs by our traditional friends is also an indication of the goodwill on their part. At the same time, the government has called for a good relationship with Cuba on a government-to-government basis, without interference in domestic. Maintained diplomatic relations with that country. The government also maintains relations with the Soviet Union, and talks are in progress regarding aid from this country in the areas of housing and agro-industries. In international forums, the Jamaican government has reaffirmed its commitment to the non-aligned movement and the African, Caribbean, and Pacific grouping. In outlining the country's position at the meeting of non-aligned foreign ministers in New Delhi, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Shearer clearly stated that Jamaica will be in the front line in the struggle for better terms of trade and the reform of the international economic system. The initiatives in foreign policy, the steps taken to stimulate new investment and revive the economy, and the efforts made to protect the rights of the individual all point to the creation of a new society, a well-ordered, stable society which promises change without chaos, economic prosperity, and justice for all the people. This is the goal. But there are problems ahead. This government has shown in its short life that it is willing to tackle problems as they arise. In anticipation of redundancies which may occur as a result of the reorganization of businesses, specifically public enterprises, government has set up a committee with the private sector. The aim is to absorb as many persons in the private sector as possible. In response to escalating rentals and complaints about abuses of tenants by landlords, government has ordered that all rents be rolled back to October 1980. These are just two examples of prompt response to specific concerns.
That is a glitch in a recording, my people. I know me I do that. It's a glitch in a recording.
Moved from the brink of economic disaster to a position of optimism. We have seen the return of confidence and the creation of a climate for economic stability and growth. There is hope for the young and the unemployed. There is encouragement for the workers and those who manage business in Jamaica. The average Jamaican can now look forward to a better life and a secure future. Jamaica smiles again.
So guys, Jamaicans were to get complacent right after that. After all of that work that Edward Seaga put in to stabilize the economy and to bring back Jamaica to growth. Labour rights got complacent and said Edward Seaga did too much work to lose the election. And they did not go out in their numbers to vote. The PNP base was awoken. They went out and voted back for their party. And all of that work that Edward Seaga did. I may ever tell you, because I'm a man, me well versed in these things. You know, when I see all of the work, all of the things them that he done to put back Jamaica on a good footing. And all of that was reversed by the PNP when they came back in 1989. Michael Manley would have won that election. I believe he stayed there until 92 when he got sick and stepped aside. And Percival James the Bomb Spattison was to take office. And they had sought to dismantle everything that Edward Seaga, had planned or started to do, and it was starting to work. The people, it was working, right? But the people of Jamaica, the PNP, them will never like work. They never join into the workplace. Them sat down, waiting for hands out, like much of them are doing today. And they're the one who got up because Labour right was complacent and said, Edward Seaga do too much work for losing, can't lose. And he beg of them. And the people them when they like work, he scrounges them. They went out in their numbers and voted out Papa Eddie. And all of the progress that Papa Eddie made was reversed and this occasion with Andrew Holness. All of these things that you see Papa Eddie introduce, Andrew Holness is introducing them now, and they're working properly. And Jamaicans giving him this extra 5 year, we'll see even more things happening in Jamaica. So Edward Seaga is a great pioneer, and that is not even the half of things that he done. That it was 1 year, That one me just showing you, that was the first year of him being prime minister. That is not even half of what he done yet. So what we'll do on Sundays, my people, we are going to do a day in history on Sundays. I also have some clips of Michael Manley. We are not PNP, but it's good for teach with people them, both sides of the divide, so they can choose and then can see, the contrast between the two parties. Now I have missed out a lot of shout outs, so let me roll them out and then we get back to the topic at hand. See? Where were we? Alright, so good evening to my beautiful mother-in-law. Good evening, mommy. Patrick Brown, big up yourself. Just me, big up yourself. Feline, big up. Arlene, good luck, big up yourself. Richard, big up yourself. Caitlin, big up yourself. Bertie. Can't be people. Mighty God. Caroline, big up yourself. Lifestyle Politics, Janet. Leonie Linus. K Clark, big up yourself. Michelle Townsend, Sonia, big up yourself. Ellen Mackenzie, Carnell, big up yourself. Chow, big up yourself, my boss. And Tammy, big up yourself. Beverly Clark, big up yourself. Tony, big up yourself. Valentina, Mama Lady J, big up. Anita Earlford, good evening. Big up on yourself. Sylvia, big up yourself. I just see a puppy. Electro, big up yourself as well. See, make certain you like up a live. And if you're here for the first time, please subscribe. These are things that I like to do. I like to teach the history of Jamaica. And this is not even the half of it. There is more, but we won't get into that, into the rest of it tonight. We'll leave some for next week Sunday. I've been watching the Beverly Manley Chronicles, my people. There's 4 tiny documentaries of Beverly Manley outlining the time of, Michael Manley and DK Duncan. I suspect that I will be copywritten for, playing this evening. One of the documentaries, I believe the last one, from the National Library. And I don't know why people copyright them things, because them things, they're educational things. Them not supposed to try to make no money off of them kind of things there. See, these are historical things they should be able to use for educational purposes. So let's see if I'm copywritten for it later on after we come off the live. Tell me if you not see no ads are play, by the way, my people. That will tell me if them copyright. If you not see no ads play while that video was playing, then we're probably good. But if not, them probably cut me off already. But we'll see. I'll put in the description that it is for educational purposes. Also, as I was saying, the Beverly Manley Chronicles, I will be trying to go through those with us and here. It is a good listen, my people. And okay, somebody said they ain't got an ad. Johnny say yeah. And somebody say yes, enough before. Yes, there are ads. Okay, Senorita, big up yourself. I swear me see father that night say good evening night time. Yeah, them shouldn't. It's like the PNP song March We Are March. So they copyright the song March We Are March. Why would you copyright a campaign song where everybody can use? Why don't me play while I look part of it by so? By the time I come off, me look my video. No monetize because me have to go in and go cut out the song out of the video. See? So I don't know anything but people can make money off of really. But these things are for educational purpose and they should not be copywritten. But big up Papa Eddie. Papa Eddie in a engrave a smile. I know Jamaica Labour Party got a third term. We get to continue our historical run. This government is doing same like Edward Seaga did. He had something for elderly, for middle age, for the youngsters. You know, he had something for the cane farmer. He had something for construction. He had agriculture. All of these things Andrew Holness is taking, you know, a hand to today in today's Jamaica. Edward Seaga did it before, and Andrew is doing it now. For some reason, the PNP spent 19 years sitting in a government. Pardon, sorry. The PNP spent 19 years sitting in a government and was not able to kickstart the economy. I don't know why. You know, I find it strange why they could not kickstart the economy in 19 long years. That is too many years for them not to be able to kickstart the economy. You know, that is 2 generations. You know, and they could not do it. Edward Seaga did it in 1 year in the 80s. Kickstart the economy in 1 year. So in some ways, he actually done better than a lot of governments. See? So he was able to do that in 1 year, kickstart the Jamaican economy in 1 year and bring back our industry and bring us back to profit making in 1 year. See? Them time there, I would say things was a bit easier, you know, than now. I think now is harder, but you know, the elder they might beg to differ, you know, but I believe that these times, although technologically wise, things are easier that way, technologically wise, but you know, just the whole feel of things and you know, financially, I believe these times are harder. You know, sometimes when I watch the documentary, I feel like I did feel living at the time there. You know, sometimes I wish I did have a time machine and I could have go looking at the time there. You know, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, probably all in the 16, 1700, 1800, early 1900. So I can see what I go on for myself. You know, I love things like that. I love history, guys. I'm a history buff. You know, and anything that is to be known about Jamaica, I am very interested. I am very interested in knowing about my country and its past. You know, like I said, I have been watching the Beverly Manley, or should I say Beverly Duncan Chronicles, and it is very interesting. And there's 4 parts to it. I believe it's 4 20-odd minutes docu-series. So we can't watch them one time, but we will be watching them over a period of Sundays. Probably if we can do 2 at a time, maybe, you know, and we just make something like that. But I believe things are in it that people can learn from, you know. It is her telling her story in her words, but there are some little information and some clips in a hit way, you know, I believe we will find interesting. They didn't kickstart it because they had no intention of doing so. They use the country money for their personal benefit. I would believe so too, Sonia. I would believe so too. We asked God for this Prime Minister and he delivered. Thanks be to God. Yeah, man, big up God. You know, and Edward Seaga is the one who brought Andrew Holness into politics, took him under his wing and, you know, mentor him. And I believe Papa Eddie have rubbed off on Andrew Holness, you know. Papa Eddie would have said to Andrew Holness, so no matter what you do, remember the poor. You know, there's another clip, you know, that we may never show you tonight, where Ronald Reagan came to Jamaica and he told a story of Edward Seaga. When Edward Seaga went to America to study, Edward Seaga actually left his dormitory and to go live with the poor people them in a bad part of the city because he wanted to see how they were living and wanted to experience what it was like, how they were living. So he actually left in university and went into, we're going to play the clip there probably a morning, see? And he went So Donald Reagan came to Jamaica. They had a banquet that Ronald Reagan was talking, giving a toast. And in that toast, Ronald Reagan said Edward Seaga, when he came to the United States to study, he actually left his dormitory and went to live with some poor people, you know. And while he was a serving member of the government, he actually went to live with the people in Tivoli Gardens. That's where he lived, you know, with the people in Tivoli Gardens. And they love him till this day. They love him. Don't when PNP win the election, PNP come to Tivoli Garden and take away hall of drum set from the center. And so something we didn't do regular, you know, man. PNP used to send, PJ Patterson used to send Adams in a Tivoli go mess with the people them and send Adams go kill Labour right and them look a thing there. You know. Some wicked set of people them here. More want to listen to Beverly Manley, especially part 3. Part 3 I go show you how PNP think. You know, Beverly Manley is somebody where me have great respect for because of, you know, the work that she done. But she says something in a part 3 where really make me a question if, you know, I don't want to disrespect her because she a big pitney bigger than me and she a elder in her 80s, you know, but she says some things in a part 3 of the documentary, the docu-series then. But me here, me have to shake my head, you know, because sometimes me there work, and me I do my work, and me just put on one look at documentary, one look at docu-series, and meanwhile me I drive, you know, me just I listen, you know, me like to take in information, my people. You know, me love the little thing there. So that's what I was doing, listening to Beverly Manley and part 3, very mucky. You know, but we go here. Carlton Swaby, big up yourself. Thank you very much. Well done again. Keep it up. Or keep it going, sorry. We want more education. Education, it's a must. Or is a must. Exactly. Big up yourself in Everton. Shower every time, my people. It is my pleasure to educate the masses. You know, I am pretty much, although I did go to college, but you know, most of my education is from self. I am always reading. I'm always watching documentary. I'm always trying to take in information. And when time I reach all of Jamaica, and I see one look old man, I want to look old man, I go and catch up, and ask question. Because sometimes, I say, you tell you, when you born, Mama, when you born? Mama say, you know, I'm born 1940, so tell me how your 50s gonna, how 60s did look. What go on? How you used to live in that time, ne? Me love them, they sitting there. You see me, I say, so in time I see look old people, them, I go each up. You know, right now, next time I go to Jamaica, I'm supposed to meet my wife, grandfather, that my mother-in-law father. And he was a labourite, or he is a labourite, sorry. And, you know, I can't wait for reach for ask him 2 questions. You know, because I love them, they sit there, I love it. He also left Oxford, go to Africa, study the black culture, bring it back home to Jamaica, to JAPP. He went to Haiti as well to study the Haitian version of voodoo. Why Haitian version of voodoo called? You know, he went there to study that as well. Edward Seaga went deep, you know, in our culture. I am going to compile a list of policies that Edward Seaga enacted during his tenure. And I will come back to the Tuno and Guno, you know, the entire list of all of the achievements. And throughout his life, he got the American, he got a medal from the Americans. He got some from Latin America. He got some from Africa. You know, he was a true philanthropist and he was a true man of the people. You know, something that Mark Golding can't match up to. And while they say Edward Seaga is white, Edward Seaga is not white. He is of Syrian descent. He's of Syrian descent. He's not Caucasian. Mark Golding is Caucasian. White, like snow, Mark Golding is. That's me with the elder too. I have a lot of story from my grandparents. and other oldies from my community. You know, say, my father, me only used to see him by the time me born him very old. You know, so me used to see him sit down on the veranda. And every time I go to the yard, I would have to tell him, say, I'm my father's son, every single time. You don't know who. See, me no born come see my father, mother. Me remember going to Fiar funeral in about 94, 95. Me did look her, me did about 4 or 5 year old, me go to my grandmother funeral. My mother is still alive. She have dementia now. And my mother father dead before me born. My mother father dead in 1980 something. Me never born till 1990. So me never have the grandparent kind of relationship that with none of my grandparents them. You know, so that's one thing I look forward to in a life. You know, I want they around to see my grandpicking them. So I can run them down and bite them in my gum and my teeth then drop out. You know, so I look for that part there, and hopefully me have the memory so I can teach them and tell them things about, you know, in the 90s, in the 2000s, coming up to their time, you know. Yes, he knew everything in his constituency for true. He's the one who brought Desmond Mackenzie and Babsy Grange into politics as well and nurtured them. You know, Edward Seaga was a true Jamaican in every sense of the word. He chose Jamaica, not like all Bucky Swamps we refuse to give up in citizenship and we have to force him to give it up. And right now in Bex cause either with the election and they make him give up his citizenship. See? I am blessed to have known one great grandmother and all 4 grandparents, and I have memories with all of them. Me have memories with my mother. You know, she did my grandmother for most of my life, my young life. But me have memories with my mother as well. But you know, I don't know more than so. You know, say when she cook, she give me look of food and thing. But I remember when my mother, she used to sell a market, and me used to lay wait her out of my lane mouth at evening time when she had come in, and she always carry one slice of pudding for me. You see me? So me used to name up a last slice of pudding when mama never sell. When you come, honey banana, I remember that now. Honey banana. Till this day, honey banana, my favorite banana. My granny used to give me honey banana, my mother. You know, my mother and her mother have a good relationship, but my granny never treat me no way. My granny miserable, but she never treat me no way. She always cook and give me food, and she used to carry honey banana for me and give me last slice of pudding when I sell down the market. You know, so yeah, I remember them things there. No me attack, I remember the little thing there. You know, but no more than so, no memory more than so. I never like live with her and you know, and them little thing there. Babsy is the only woman in politics that have been exiled from Jamaica. Yes, the PNP lock up Babsy, beat up Babsy, and Babsy had to run away to Canada and seek political asylum in Canada. You know, the PNP are a wicked, evil set of people, you know. I say I can't wait for to hear Beverly Manley something. I can't wait for to hear. I got to think different. If you did have a good image of her, you know, I'm sure the things them that she says will shake you a little bit, my people. Monica Tennant said, I was born in 1939 and I still have good memory. Yeah, man, you have good memory, Mama Monica, because, you know, when you're born, you never have to stress or worry about no five things that me have to stress or worry about, you know. So, probably by the time I reach your age, but from memory back, so God, I can't tell if I know. You know, because I spend a whole heap of year and mash up here, worry about things where me not to worry about, you know. He adopted son, Christopher Seaga. Okay, that is new to me. Me never know that. You know. No, she didn't run away. She was sent away. Well, you know, we can't say run, we can't say sent. Either way, she had to left Jamaica because of political what you call it? What you call it now? Because of what you call it when persecution. Yes, because of political persecution, she had to leave. Whether she was sent away or I ran away, she had to leave nonetheless. See, she was taken from Upward Camp straight to the airport and put on a flight to Canada. Okay. Well, I guess that is still running away because she never want to leave. She never leave on her own free will. You know, she had to. She had to do it. You know. But I hope, you know, these things can me have problem of find certain little things that I want to look upon in our history. And the Jamaica Library is very good for finding certain little things. We have our next channel called AP. Everything you touch for AP, you get copywritten. I don't know why they do that. Them the things they have for educational purpose, bro. See? So you have a channel called AP, and everything you see on AP where you try to use, you get copywritten. See? Them is something they are bullshit. But the National Archives, the National Library Archives is very good in Jamaica. Big up in Anthony, you know. And guys, please share the content. Whenever we do things like these, we don't get a lot of views because Jamaican people tend to not want to hear their history. I don't know why, but we need to start read and we need to, you know, learn the history because that will decide where we go in the future. See? And it is very important to learn about the past of Jamaica. Papa Eddie did exceptionally well. Very good. He did. And the people of Jamaica was so ungrateful. They vote him out. And they almost vote out Andrew Holness one day because of same ungratefulness. Same how they say Andrew Holness do nothing now. A same thing they say Papa Eddie never do nothing then. See? And look for the amount of things where a man do in a 1 year. Just 1 year out of 9 years when he do that. See? He did so much in 1 year, in the first 12 months. You know, so we know how Jamaican people operate. We know how they stay. And we need them to change. And how we get them to change? We have to continue to educate them. You know? Yes, DUJON'S Seaga found him when he was building Tivoli. He was abandoned. At that time, the place was called Bakawal. Okay. Me never know. Me I go look into it though. See? The guy when him our Mitri Seaga, he related to Seaga. The sergeant that gave her the exile letter is still alive. He called Cliff Hughes from time to time. Okay. Yeah, well, he must pretty old. If him did a sergeant and the time the Babs did young and Babs a big grandmother now. So that man most old we call Cliff Hughes from time to time. You know, and big up Cliff Hughes as well. Cliff Hughes has been one of the man them, you know, that is upholding the thing. I only true news network in Jamaica now that is bringing facts. Every other one is skewed. See, so I am imploring everybody to follow, subscribe to Nationwide, and only listen to Nationwide. Turn off every other media house in Jamaica. Only listen to Cliff Hughes. Cliff Hughes is the only person that is carrying accurate and factual information, different from myself, obviously, but Cliff Hughes is a radio station. I am merely just a tiny little blogger. See, one day I'll be, you know, up there with Cliff Hughes. You know, yo, DUJON, check my message earlier up in the chat. Let me go look. Sonny. Let me go look. Sometimes I can't type here again, you know, instead of me I go all the way up so because I can't find you know, Sonny. And if me I go, oh, see that. Yo, only thing I see of you, Sonny, I will say, yeah, I saw ads. I don't see nothing else. Let me take my time, scroll and see. If I see nothing. See if I can retype it, Sonny, because I can't find it. You know me? Alright, now my brain kind of old too. No? I'm tired. Sorry. For the person who say this morning, so we need to have a phone line. We do have a phone line, but every time I turn on, nobody no call me. So I don't even bother with it. DUJON'S is our guidance and strength. Bro, God shall be removed like the tree planted by the river of life. Shall not be removed. Hotel management and such. I can't. What's Sonny there? Tell Sonny to type in back when it's up, so I can't find it. See? My people. I soon gone left on you. I spend 5 more minutes with them and then I gone because I tired. Drive 200 odd miles since the I run come home so I come go back in history with you. See me, I look for Sonny. Message see me, I can't find it. Too much message today as a matter of fact, I just can't find it. You know. I saw Mitzi Seaga on stage the other night when we win the election. I don't know if any of the other Seagas was there. You know. That's why I say shall not be removed, because I know I must mistake McConnell. You know. I wait for Sonny for retype what he said to me so I can see. And say what me look like Sonny gone. See? So me I look forward to do he said Seaga was a visionary or something like that. Okay. And then Sonny say just did, but me not see he come up back, Sonny. But Seaga was definitely a visionary. Seaga was a leader, you know, that was above his time. See? He was a leader that was before his time. He was a true visionary. You know, and the things that Seaga did, they was way above or way ahead of his time. You know. That Seaga boy is a old wicked. He has left classism got to him. Alright, my people. I got any live I know. I'm tired. I go to my bed me soon. I'm morning. See, I don't know what we are talking about the morning yet, but me soon I'm morning. So big up on yourself every time. See? Shower labor rights.